Don't even start, Monica. You're the worst of them all. Telling your kid to stay away from mine, calling them colorless. Look at you now. Broke, abandoned, and pathetic. I turned to Johnson, who stood silently, his head hanging in shame. Oh, and by the way, I lied to you about helping you financially. Firstly, this house now belongs to me. I bought it. You're all pathetic. You couldn't even buy a house for your parents? Anyway, those papers you signed too? You gave up your rights to Emma and Ethan. You'll never see them again. We're also officially divorced. The room erupted into chaos. They all fell to their knees, begging me for mercy. When Johnson tried to stand up to touch me, I kicked his bad leg and watched him fall on his face. I don't need your fake apologies. You all have 3 days to pack your things and get out of this house. Out of my house. The first time I met Johnson's parents, I knew I wasn't welcome. The comments started small, almost imperceptible, like tiny barbs beneath a layer of politeness.
Oh, I didn't expect you to be so petite. I mean, you white ladies are mostly small, but you're quite the extra.
His sister was worse. She looked at me like I was disgusting.
Do you even eat? You look like you will break trying to carry groceries.
At first, I brushed it off. Maybe they were just being awkward. Maybe they needed time to adjust. When Johnson announced we were engaged, I was elated. He wanted me by his side forever, and I felt like the luckiest woman alive. But that joy was short-lived when he insisted we visit his parents to share the news.
Engaged? Already? Why? I thought you were just playing around with her. A white lady?
You didn't think to consult us before making such a big decision?
Monica, seated on the couch, let out a hypocritical laugh.
Wow, this is so unexpected.
Look, I don't need anyone's approval. Her race also doesn't matter. I love Christy, and we're getting married.
Well, what about Angela?
Yes, what about her?
The name hit me like a slap. I had no idea who Angela was, but the way Monica and their mother asked about her seemed like there was something going on that I didn't know about.
Angela is a lovely girl. She's black. She comes from a good family and she's known you for years. I thought you both would eventually end up together.
I glanced at Johnson, but he looked so angry. It seemed like he didn't want to talk about whoever Angela was.
Angela is irrelevant. I'm marrying Christy.
His mother sighed dramatically, shaking her head.
This is such a disappointment. Angela would have been perfect for you.
I wanted to scream, to shout that I wasn't some placeholder for their ideal daughter-in-law. But I stayed silent, not wanting to be disrespectful. The evening dragged on, filled with passive-aggressive remarks and thinly veiled insults. By the time we left, I was exhausted, emotionally and physically. Weeks turned into months, and their treatment of me didn't improve. If anything, it got worse. They invited Johnson to family dinners without including me, planned events that excluded us, and made no effort to hide their disdain when I was around.
You know Angela still asks about you, Johnson.
Yes, she does. Such a sweet girl. She would have fit in so well with the family, not some white girl.
Every comment was like a knife to my heart. Johnson always defended me, but their words lingered, chipping away at my confidence. Then came the dinner that I regretted attending. Johnson's family invited us over, and despite my reservations, he convinced me to go. When we arrived, I immediately noticed Angela sitting at the table, her smile radiant as she greeted everyone. I'd seen her picture once when Monica tried to prove that she was better, so I recognized her. I felt sad seeing her there. Johnson's family didn't make things any easier. They fawned over her like she was royalty, showering her with compliments and reminiscing about past events.
Remember that trip we all took to the lake? Of course, those were such great times.
I sat there, silent and seething, as they ignored me completely. Johnson squeezed my hand under the table, his silent reassurance keeping me grounded. But then his mother turned to me, a smile plastered on her face that didn't reach her eyes.
Christy, don't you think Angela and Johnson would have made a great couple?
That felt so disrespectful. I stood up angrily and dashed out of the house. I refused to see them after that. Even on my wedding day, when they reluctantly showed up, I refused to talk to them. It made me so angry to see that they had the audacity to bring Angela along. They didn't even wait for the wedding to be over before they left, refusing to take any pictures with us. 5 years into our marriage, Johnson and I already had 2 beautiful children, Emma and Ethan. They were the light of my life, but their existence only seemed to deepen the wedge between me and his family. From the moment Emma and Ethan were born, I knew they'd never be fully accepted by Johnson's parents. Their white skin was a constant reminder that I wasn't the daughter-in-law they wanted.
Why do they look so pale? Why would both of them have your skin color? Are you sure they're even ours?
The insinuations stung, but I bit my tongue for the sake of peace. Whenever the kids were at their grandparents' house, I worried about how they were treated. My fears were confirmed when Emma came home crying one afternoon.
Grandma and Aunt Monica said I'm not pretty because my skin looks like paper.
It didn't end there. Monica, now a mother herself, ensured her child avoided mine entirely.
Don't go near them. You don't want to catch whatever makes them so colorless.
I wanted to fight back, to stand up for my children, but Johnson always urged me to let it go. He assured me that his parents would come around eventually, but they didn't. Whenever the kids made the slightest mistake, Johnson's parents were quick to punish them harshly. I remember walking into their house one day to find Ethan crying, clutching his cheek. His grandfather had slapped him for accidentally spilling juice on the tablecloth. How could you lay a hand on him? He's just a child. You can imagine my shock when my in-laws pounced on me and beat me up for yelling at them. When I told Johnson about it, he completely ignored the part where I said his parents beat me up and only focused on the kids.
They're disciplining them, Christy. You're overreacting.
That word became his shield, his excuse for everything. No matter how much I tried to explain that hitting a child over minor mistakes was wrong, he dismissed me every time. Even when his parents starved my kids for a whole day because Emma broke her lenses, Johnson didn't think it was bad. When they were asked to shovel the snow on empty stomachs, it still wasn't bad. I started to feel like a stranger in my own marriage. Johnson wasn't the man I fell in love with. He was changing, and not for the better. Soon I discovered he was cheating on me with Angela, of all people. I found out through Monica, who seemed almost gleeful as she dropped the bombshell.
You know, Angela and my brother have been spending a lot of time together. She's practically family after all. I hope they expand our family soon and send you out of our lives.
I confronted Johnson that evening. How could you do this to me? To our family?
Angela and I are just dating. Besides, if I want to, I'm allowed to marry more than one wife, Christy. I'm not tied to you alone.
So that's it? You think you can just throw me aside because I'm not who they wanted you to marry?
I'm not throwing you aside. I'm just expanding my family, you know? And you're overreacting.
I couldn't believe the man standing in front of me was the same person who had once fought to be with me. The same person who had promised to protect me from his family's cruelty. I decided that I'd had enough. I couldn't allow myself to be treated any worse than that. So I packed my bags and left with my kids. Johnson and his family didn't even try to stop me. Neither did they contact me after. I was devastated, but I made sure to be strong for my kids. It was tough at first, but with the help of my parents in the UK, I was able to get a good job that provided me with a comfortable house and a car. A year after I left Johnson's house, my life had taken a turn for the better. I was thriving, working hard to build a stable future for my children. Emma and Ethan had gone to be with my parents in the UK, while I focused on ensuring their future was secure. One evening, as I sat in my living room, sipping tea after a long day at work, there was a knock at the door. I wasn't expecting anyone. I opened it and saw Johnson. I didn't know how he located me. He looked like a ghost of the man I once knew. He was so lean, his clothes looked so dirty, and he was crying.
Christy, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have let you leave. I'm sorry.
I'd heard that he married Angela only 2 months after I left him and that they were doing well. I was shocked to see him on his knees now, crying in front of me.
I've lost everything. Angela wasn't who I thought she was. She cheated on me constantly. She even brought men to my house. I caught her with one of her lovers and tried to fight him. He beat me so badly that I have to limp forever.
I almost laughed, but he didn't notice.
She took all my money, everything I owned, and ran off with Monica's husband.
That got my attention. Monica's husband? What was the connection between Angela and Monica's husband? I gestured for Johnson to continue.
Angela and Monica's husband had been seeing each other behind our backs. Now Monica and I are broke, living with my parents. Christy, please, I'm begging you, help me.
I could see the desperation in his eyes, but all I felt was disgust. He ruined our family, betrayed me, and allowed his family to treat me and my children like trash. Still, I hid my true emotions and plastered on a kind smile. I promised to help him, but I couldn't be his wife anymore. He agreed so quickly, and it hurt a bit to know that he didn't want me anymore. Regardless, the next day, I presented him with papers to sign, claiming they were part of the process to assist him financially. He didn't even read them. He signed them all. Little did he know, he had just signed away his rights to our children, as well as our divorce. Afterward, I bought his parents' apartment from their landlord. When the papers were finalized, I decided it was time to pay them a visit. We arrived at the house, and I watched his parents' faces twist in confusion and then horror as I stepped through the door. Monica sat on the couch, looking just as pathetic as her brother.
What are you doing here?
You still hold such bitterness against me, huh? You all treated me like dirt. You treated my kids like dirt. And for what? Because I wasn't the black girl you wanted for your son? Well, look where that got you. Angela ran off with your daughter's husband. Haha, your family is in ruins. Monica tried to interrupt, but I stopped her. Don't even start, Monica. You're the worst of them all, telling your kid to stay away from mine, calling them colorless. Look at you now, broke, abandoned, and pathetic. I turned to Johnson, who stood silently, his head hanging in shame. Oh, and by the way, I lied to you about helping you financially. Firstly, this house now belongs to me. I bought it. You're all pathetic. You couldn't even buy a house for your parents? Anyway, those papers you signed too? You gave up your rights to Emma and Ethan. You'll never see them again. We're also officially divorced. The room erupted into chaos. They all fell to their knees, begging me for mercy. When Johnson tried to stand up to touch me, I kicked his bad leg and watched him fall on his face. I don't need your fake apologies. You all have 3 days to pack your things and get out of this house. Out of my house. I walked out, leaving them sobbing on the floor. Before I left town, I made sure to hang posters of Johnson's parents everywhere, labeling them as kidnappers and human traffickers. A year later, I heard Monica had resorted to sleeping around to survive, only to contract a deadly disease that left her reeking of decay. She'd tried to sell her child off for money, but she was caught and thrown in jail for attempted human trafficking. The child was taken to an orphanage afterward. Johnson, miserable and depressed, struggled to hold down any job. His kidneys failed soon after from drinking excessively, and he died. As for their parents, they ended up sleeping on the streets since they couldn't afford to rent another apartment since I kicked them out. I got promoted at my workplace and was reassigned to a bigger branch in the UK, where I was able to live fine with my kids. Thanks for watching. I never thought life would give me a second chance. Not after growing up in St. Mary's orphanage, where every birthday was just another reminder that nobody wanted me. My name's Lydia, and if there's one thing that orphan life teaches you, it's how to survive on scraps. Scraps of food, scraps of affection, and later, scraps of paychecks. So when I finally got a steady job at Mr. Dalton's bistro, I thought I'd made it. I could finally afford my own tiny apartment and not have to share a bunk bed with 5 other girls who snored like tractors. But that dream, it didn't last long. Not with Mr. Dalton as my boss.
Lydia, you call that clean? You think customers come here to eat off tables that shine only halfway?
He'd bark that while standing over me like a wolf guarding his kill. The man had a face permanently scrunched from bitterness. Deep forehead lines, lips always twisted into disgust, and small, mean eyes that never smiled even when his mouth did. Sorry, sir. I'll wipe it again. He'd slap the rag out of my hand.
Do it properly this time. I'm not paying you to apologize. I'm paying you to not mess up.
The funny thing? He barely paid us at all. He'd dock wages for lateness, poor attitude, or too much bathroom time. He even had cameras in the storage room. He claimed it was for security, but we all knew it was to spy on us. One night, I'd barely reached home when my phone rang. Hello?
How was business today?
Sir, it's 11 p.m.
Asked a question. I need a report. Sales, customers, complaints.
It was fine, sir. We had steady traffic and everyone liked the new menu.
Fine? That's not a number, Lydia. Write it down next time. God, you're lazy. I should have hired robots.
He hung up. I lay there staring at my ceiling fan, wondering why I didn't just quit. But rent was due. And when you've been tossed away once in life, losing your job feels too close to losing your worth. He wasn't just cruel to me. He was cruel to everyone. He once fired a waitress, Rosa, for sneezing near a customer. Not on them, just near them. She cried the whole shift and begged for another chance.
You can cry me a river, Rosa. Maybe I'll serve it as soup. Now get your things.
Another time, Jake, the cook, burned his hand on hot oil. Mr. Dalton docked his pay because his carelessness wasted oil. When Jake tried to argue, Mr. Dalton smirked and said,
If you don't like it, go flip burgers at the dump.
Despite everything, I stayed. Maybe it was trauma, maybe it was habit, or maybe, deep down, I believed karma had a weird way of balancing things out. Turns out I was right. It was a sunny Friday, and the restaurant was busier than ever. I was serving a table when Mr. Dalton's voice cut through the noise.
Lydia, my office, now.
I froze, then handed my tray to another waiter and went inside. His office smelled of cheap cologne and arrogance. He was sitting behind his desk, frowning at the computer.
You forgot to note down the delivery report from yesterday.
Sir, I did. I emailed it last night. He spun his monitor toward me.
Then who's this? Lydia Brown? I told you to register as Lydia Clark. One more mistake and you're done.
But sir, my last name is Brown.
Don't argue, just fix it.
I bit my tongue and nodded. That was my life, fixing his mistakes and taking his wrath. But the universe had already planned something for me, something big. 3 days later, I got another call from him, on my off day. Sir, I was just about to do laundry.
I don't care about your laundry. Get down here now.
Sir, I'm not on shift today.
Did I stutter? The fryer's broken, the supplier's late, and if you want to keep your job, you'll show some loyalty.
I groaned, threw on my uniform, and caught the next bus. When I arrived, he wasn't even there. Jake told me he'd stepped out to run errands. I worked the lunch rush, sweating through my shirt, until 2 p.m., when a waiter whispered, "Dalton's in trouble outside." Curious, I peeked through the front window, and what I saw made my jaw drop. There was Mr. Dalton, red-faced, yelling at a woman in designer clothes, a woman who looked exactly like me. Same hair, same eyes, same face.
You think you can ignore me, Lydia, after all I've done for you?
The woman looked baffled.
Excuse me? Who are you talking to?
Don't play dumb, you work for me.
He slapped her. A loud crack echoed across the street. For 2 seconds, everyone froze. Then chaos erupted. A huge man in a black suit, clearly her bodyguard, lunged at him. 1 punch. 2. Dalton went down, nose bleeding, groaning on the sidewalk as people recorded on their phones.
Touch her again, and I'll rearrange your entire face.
The woman looked shaken but composed. She tossed her hair and glared down at him.
You're insane. I don't even know you.
Then she left, escorted by the guard, while Mr. Dalton screamed after her,
You'll regret this. I'll call the police.
That evening, he did. That evening, he called me, asking how I could have a guard and humiliate him like that. I told him it wasn't me. That's when it dawned on him that it was probably my twin, and that he had assaulted her.
That witch is going to jail. Nobody humiliates me.
But the next morning, he came storming in, pale and shaking.
What happened, boss? The police said the woman's name is Amelia Brown. She's rich, owns hotels, and she's suing me.
I dropped a plate. Wait, what was her name?
Amelia Brown. Why?
I stood frozen. Brown. My last name. And her face. It was mine. That night, I went home and pulled out an old photo from the orphanage, a picture of 2 baby girls. Me and my twin, Amelia. She'd been adopted when we were 3. I never saw her again. Tears blurred my vision. She'd made it out. And now, fate had brought us back together, because my evil boss slapped her thinking she was me. For once, karma wasn't late. 2 weeks later, I got a message. "Hi, are you Lydia Brown from St. Mary's Orphanage?" My heart nearly stopped. It was her. We met at a coffee shop downtown. She walked in wearing a sleek white suit, hair tied back, smile warm.
You look just like me.
You too. We hugged. For the first time in forever, I felt whole again. She told me her story, how she was adopted by a wealthy couple who couldn't have kids. She'd always wondered if she had family left somewhere.
When that man slapped me, I was shocked. Not just by his audacity, but by how he kept calling me Lydia. I hired a private investigator after that. Turns out, he runs a restaurant where you work.
I nodded, embarrassed. He's horrible, Amelia. He treats us like garbage.
Good. Then let's make him pay.
The case went to court quickly because Mr. Dalton, in his arrogance, insisted on pressing charges. He strutted in with bandages and fake humility, acting like a victim.
Your Honor, this violent woman assaulted me in public without provocation. I lost income, dignity, and reputation.
But when Amelia took the stand, she was composed.
He mistook me for one of his employees, my twin sister, and physically attacked me. I only defended myself. He has a history of abuse and exploitation toward his staff.
The courtroom buzzed. The judge frowned. Then Jake, Rosa, and I stepped forward to testify. He once fired me for sneezing.
He made me work with burns on my hands.
He harassed me constantly, called at night, made me come in on off days, even docked my pay when I refused to smile enough. Dalton's lawyer kept objecting, but the judge let us speak. The weight of truth filled the room like thunder. Finally, the judge spoke.
Mr. Dalton, based on witness testimonies, evidence, and your own admission of slapping a woman in public, this court finds you guilty of assault and workplace abuse. You are sentenced to 3 years in prison and ordered to pay restitution to Miss Lydia Brown.
Dalton's jaw dropped.
This is ridiculous. I'm the victim. You're a bully who finally met someone stronger.
The gavel fell. And just like that, the man who made everyone's life miserable was escorted away in handcuffs. A few months later, I was standing in the same restaurant, only now it looked different. Brighter, warmer, alive. Amelia had bought it from the bank after Dalton's assets were liquidated. She handed me a key.
You're the new manager. Actually, scratch that. You're the new boss.
Me? But...
You earned it. You survived that man's hell. Now make it heaven.
I turned toward the staff. They clapped and cheered. Even Jake teared up a little. Working under Amelia's ownership was like living in a dream. We raised wages, added free meals for staff, and even started a scholarship fund for kids from the orphanage. Sometimes I'd stand at the counter and just watch everyone laughing, the sound of happiness echoing through the same walls that once knew only misery. One day, Rosa asked, "Lydia, what do you think Mr. Dalton's doing in prison right now?" I chuckled. Probably complaining about the soup. We all laughed. Weeks later, a letter arrived addressed to me from the correctional facility. It was from Dalton.
You think you've won, Lydia? Wait till I get out.
I laughed so hard I nearly spilled my coffee. I wrote back one line. "By the time you get out, I'll be the one hiring you to clean tables." Life has a strange sense of humor. The same man who destroyed so many lives got destroyed by a single slap meant for me. And I got something far better than revenge: a sister, a family, and peace. Now every night before closing, I look at the restaurant sign, Brown Sisters Bistro, glowing above the door, and I smile.
Boss, you're smiling again. Should we be worried?
Only if you forget to mop the floor. We laugh, lights go out, and the story ends exactly where it began, in a restaurant. Only this time, the boss isn't a tyrant. She's someone who knows what hunger, pain, and justice taste like. And if you enjoyed this story, well, don't make me call you on your day off to remind you. But you better hit that like button and subscribe, because karma's watching.
What's your name, son? D. David. I haven't walked in years, Pastor. The devil is a liar. Today your chains will break. The music swelled. He laid his hands on my head, shouting prayers. Then came the cue, the one I'd seen 100 times. Stand up and walk. Instead of standing, I grabbed the microphone. Ladies and gentlemen, my name isn't David. I used to work for this man. I know every trick he's pulled, every person he's paid to fake a miracle. Gasps. The music cut off. Ushers froze mid-step. Do you want to know how it works? He gives you a list of symptoms, pays you cash afterward, and tells you to act shocked when you're healed. I'm not crippled. I walked in here this morning, and do you know where your offerings go? Not to God, to his pockets, to his expensive suits, his luxury cars, his vacations. The crowd murmured, some angry, some confused. Pastor Gideon's face was pale, his mouth opening and closing like a fish. Ask him about Sister Rebecca's mother. Ask him why she's dead. Ask him about the women, married women, he slept with in this church. A woman screamed from the back, "It's true!" Another shouted, "You slept with my sister!" The place erupted. Cameras were still rolling. This was all live. I dropped the mic and walked right out the front door, leaving the wheelchair behind. It started with the smell of fresh paint and cheap incense. That's what I remember most from my first day working at Pastor Gideon's church. I was 21, fresh out of college, broke, and desperate for any job that would pay the bills. The church seemed like a safe, godly place to work. They had me doing administrative tasks, answering phones, updating social media, organizing events. And Pastor Gideon? He was charming, magnetic, the kind of man whose voice filled every corner of the room even when he whispered. At first, I thought God had led me there, but it didn't take long before I saw the truth. Son, when you post the next sermon clip, cut out the boring parts and keep the miracle healings front and center. People need to feel the power. He winked at me like we were in on a secret. I laughed nervously back then, not realizing how deep the rot went. It was after 3 months that I started noticing patterns. The same miracle healings featured the same faces. I recognized a man in a wheelchair from 3 different services. At first, I thought maybe he had relapsed. Then I saw him standing outside after service, counting cash from an envelope. I confronted one of the ushers about it. "Hey, I saw Brother Matthew walking fine after service. Isn't he supposed to be paralyzed?" "Don't ask too many questions, bro. Pastor takes care of people who help the ministry. You understand?" I understood, but not in the way he thought. Pastor Gideon was paying poor people to pretend they were sick. The blind could see, the lame could walk, all for the live broadcast. The offering buckets overflowed afterward. Weeks later, I understood how everything was done. I'd seen how the scam was run behind the scenes. It wasn't just random. It was organized like a theater production. On Saturday nights, a select group of miracle participants would gather in the church basement. Most were poor folks from nearby neighborhoods, desperate for cash. The coordinator, a short man named Brother Isaac, would hand out ailment cards. One might say crippled for 7 years, another blind in left eye, another cancer survivor coming for final prayer. Remember, look sad at first. No smiling until Pastor lays hands. When he says, "Stand up," you don't hesitate. You jump like fire hit you. They rehearsed it. Gideon would walk up, touch their foreheads, and they'd collapse dramatically before leaping up to test their healing. Ushers knew exactly where to place them, so cameras could catch every tear, every shaky step. After service, they'd file into the side office, where white envelopes full of cash waited. Gideon would sometimes peek in, patting their backs. "God bless you for serving the kingdom." I knew it wasn't God's kingdom they were serving. It was Gideon's bank account. I should have left then. But I stayed another month, gathering proof. That's when I overheard the story that changed everything. A woman named Sister Rebecca had been crying in the office, saying she needed money to take her mother to the hospital. Pastor Gideon told her that God had already healed her mother spiritually, and that her act of faith was to sow the money into the church instead. She obeyed. Her mother died 3 days later. That's when I resigned. I couldn't watch him destroy lives for profit. He smiled as I handed in my notice. "Careful, son. Leaving the anointing is dangerous. God might not protect you out there." I left without looking back, but the smell of that cheap incense stayed with me. Years passed. I moved to another city, got my own business going, and tried to forget. But every so often, I'd see his face online. His ministry had grown. He was richer than ever, selling books, merchandise, even anointed bottled water. People worshipped him like a celebrity. And every time I saw his smug smile, I thought about Sister Rebecca's mother. That's when the idea of revenge started growing. I knew his tricks. I knew the healing list, the poor souls he paid to act sick for the show. So I reached out to an old friend from my church days, someone still on the inside. I pitched it like I was looking to repent and rejoin the ministry, playing the good guy. He chuckled at first, but when I mentioned I had cash and a convincing paralysis story ready to go, his laughter faded. Within minutes, he was giving me the coordinator's number, practically inviting me to buy my way onto the stage. 2 weeks later, I was on the list to appear in a wheelchair during a live broadcast. The morning of the service, I put on my disguise, thick glasses, fake beard, a cap pulled low. The wheelchair was rented. I even wrapped my legs in bandages for effect. Inside the church, it was exactly the same as I remembered. Over-perfumed air, blinding stage lights, and Gideon's voice booming from the speakers like God himself had a microphone. Hallelujah! The Spirit is moving this morning. Who came here expecting a miracle? The crowd roared. My name was called in the second hour. 2 ushers wheeled me forward. Cameras zoomed in. What's your name, son? D. David. I haven't walked in years, Pastor. The devil is a liar. Today your chains will break. The music swelled. He laid his hands on my head, shouting prayers. Then came the cue, the one I'd seen 100 times. Stand up and walk. Instead of standing, I grabbed the microphone. Ladies and gentlemen, my name isn't David. I used to work for this man. I know every trick he's pulled, every person he's paid to fake a miracle. Gasps. The music cut off. Ushers froze mid-step. Do you want to know how it works? He gives you a list of symptoms, pays you cash afterward, and tells you to act shocked when you're healed. I'm not crippled. I walked in here this morning. And do you know where your offerings go? Not to God, to his pockets, to his expensive suits, his luxury cars, his vacations. The crowd murmured, some angry, some confused. Pastor Gideon's face was pale, his mouth opening and closing like a fish. Ask him about Sister Rebecca's mother. Ask him why she's dead. Ask him about the women, married women, he slept with in this church. A woman screamed from the back, "It's true!" Another shouted, "You slept with my sister!" The place erupted. Cameras were still rolling. This was all live. I dropped the mic and walked right out the front door, leaving the wheelchair behind. By the time I got to my car, chaos had swallowed the building. The fallout was faster than I expected. The clip went viral within hours. Former members came forward with stories of manipulation, affairs, and financial exploitation. Someone leaked footage of him rehearsing healings with the actors. 2 days after exposing Pastor Gideon, 2 men tried to break into my house. The alarm startled them, and they panicked and escaped. When I checked the security camera, I could tell they had come to hurt me, and I was sure Pastor Gideon had sent them, but I had no proof. The men escaped before the police arrived. 1 week later, an angry mob stormed his mansion. He fled the state, but the police caught him in another city. The charges included fraud, sexual misconduct, and even tax evasion. When he got to prison, my friend on the inside told me what happened. "Hey, Pastor, why don't you heal my back? Yeah, or make yourself disappear, man of God." They beat him badly the first week. The last I heard, he was scrubbing floors and avoiding eye contact. His cellmate, a tall guy nicknamed Shovel, greeted him by asking for a miracle on his aching knees. "Come on, man of God, make me walk without pain." I can only heal if the Spirit leads." "Oh, the Spirit's leading right now, Pastor." They handed him a cup of holy water, straight from the toilet, and told him to bless the cell. They made him preach in the yard, shouting fake prophecies like, "In 3 days, the warden will disappear." When nothing happened, they beat him up, telling him to try harder. Every day someone would call out, "Hey, Pastor, heal my wallet," or "Make the food taste better." By the second week, he'd stopped talking about God entirely. The twist? A month after he went to prison, I found out the church's new leadership was even worse. They weren't faking miracles. They were selling prophetic consultations for $500 a pop. It hit me that no matter how many fake pastors you take down, there's always another waiting in the wings. Still, I don't regret it. Sister Rebecca's mother deserved justice. And if I made one person think twice before emptying their wallet for a fraud, it was worth it. So yeah, that's how I took down a millionaire pastor on live TV. Oh, and if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to like, subscribe, and maybe send me an offering. Kidding. Keep your money. I don't do miracles, unless coffee counts.
Sorry, Claire. We decided you're staying down there until you lose some weight. Maybe then we won't be so embarrassed to be seen with you.
Wait, what? Please, I'm starving. Please let me out.
Nope. Maybe going to bed hungry will speed up your metabolism, though.
Her laughter echoed through the door as she walked away, leaving me in the dark. I was furious, humiliated, and terrified. Did they really plan to leave me here? That night, I drank water from a tap in the basement just to feel full enough to sleep. The next morning, I called out again, hoping they'd come to their senses. Instead, Uncle Mike's voice greeted me through the door.
We're still deciding how long to keep you down there. Maybe a week, maybe 2. We'll see. Depends how quickly you lose weight.
Panic set in. I couldn't survive like this. I had to find a way out, especially since I didn't for sure when they would let me out. I began searching the basement for anything that could help me. Eventually, I found some old boxes and stacked them up to reach a small window near the ceiling. My name is Claire, and I've always known I was different from my sister Jessica. It's not just that we don't get along, we're practically opposites in every way. Jessica is pretty, thin, and effortlessly popular. People are drawn to her like moths to a flame. Me? I'm the nerdy one. I love school. I'm more than a little overweight, and I'd rather spend my Friday nights reading than going to parties. I guess being so different wouldn't be such a problem if Jessica didn't make it her personal mission to remind me of it every chance she got.
God, Claire, could you be any more of a loser? Who cares about your stupid grades? No one's impressed.
Mom and Dad care. Besides, not everyone can coast through life on their looks like you do.
Oh, please. You're just jealous because I don't have to try to get people to like me. People are naturally drawn to me, whereas they see you and are disgusted.
They are not.
Of course they are. You really don't know just how ugly you really are. You're such a freak.
That was Jessica. Every word out of her mouth was meant to cut me down, to make me feel small. And the worst part? It worked. I hated how she treated me, but I didn't know how to fight back. The only saving grace was our parents. They were my rock, kind, loving, and supportive. No matter how awful Jessica was to me, Mom and Dad were always there to remind me that I was special in my own way, and that they truly loved me, and that they knew that I would go far in life. But then, everything changed, and not for the better. It was a rainy afternoon when the police knocked on our door. Mom and Dad had been in a car accident, and had been rushed to the hospital with severe injuries. Sadly, they didn't make it, and they passed away while doctors tried to save them. I can't even describe the pain of hearing those words. It felt like the ground had been ripped out from under me. Jessica cried, of course. But even in my grief, I could tell there was something hollow about it. She always knew how to put on a show, and this was no different. I really didn't think she was even capable of caring about anyone else other than herself. After the funeral, our aunt and uncle offered to take us in since they were childless. At first, I thought it would be okay, and that it would be a fresh start. They were polite and seemed genuinely kind, but that kindness didn't last long, at least not for me. From the beginning, it was clear they favored Jessica.
Jessica, you're such a beautiful young lady. We're so lucky to have you in our family.
With looks like that, you could be a model one day. Shame that Claire didn't get the same good looks. I guess every family has a black sheep.
I tried to impress them in my own way. I brought home straight A's, showed them awards I'd won, and even helped out around the house more than Jessica ever did. But no matter what I did, it was never enough. In fact, the more I did, the more they looked at me with disgust.
That's nice, Claire. But have you seen Jessica's new dress? Doesn't she look stunning?
School is fine and all, but you really should focus on losing a few pounds. You'd be much prettier if you tried, and people would like you far more. Don't you ever wonder how people must look at us as a family and see you and think poorly of us?
It's true. Your uncle, myself, and Jessica are beautiful people, and when our neighbors see you, they must wonder how someone fat and ugly could be related to us.
Their words hurt so much, and Jessica loved every second of it. She reveled in the attention they gave her and how cruel they were towards me. She made sure to rub it in my face whenever she could.
Face it, Claire. You'll never measure up to me. Just stop trying.
Life isn't about popularity or looks, Jessica. One day you'll be old and your looks will fade, but meanwhile, I'll still be smart and probably with a good job.
As if. I'll just marry some rich man, and while you are breaking your back working, I'll be living the life of luxury.
Their favoritism turned into outright cruelty. This became more common because my uncle worked for a magazine, and sometimes, due to Jessica's beauty, he would use her for makeup advertisements, earning thousands of dollars. But because I was fat, I couldn't be used, and they saw me as a burden. While they showered Jessica with new clothes and jewelry, I was left with hand-me-downs and snide remarks. It was as if I didn't exist, just an afterthought, a burden they were forced to tolerate. Then came the night that everything fell apart. One evening, Uncle Mike came home from work with big news.
I've got an important client coming over for dinner tonight. He's actually the publisher of the best magazine in this state. This could be huge for my career, so I need everything to be perfect.
He turned to Jessica and smiled.
Jessica, make sure you wear something nice. We want to impress him, and seeing your beautiful face will definitely do just that.
Then his gaze shifted to me and his smile vanished and turned into a nasty sneer.
As for you, Claire, you're staying in the basement. I don't want you embarrassing us. I don't want my client to see your ugly face and think poorly of me because of it.
What? But
Don't argue with me. Just do as you're told.
I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I wanted to scream, to fight back, but the look on his face told me it wouldn't matter. Defeated, I grabbed a couple of books and went down to the basement. Hours passed as I sat there, my stomach growling. I hadn't been allowed to eat dinner, and the hunger was unbearable. When I finally heard the front door close and realized the client had left, I made my way to the basement door, only to find it locked. I pounded on the door, calling for help. Hello? Somehow, the door got locked. Can someone please let me out?
Sorry, Claire. We decided you're staying down there until you lose some weight. Maybe then we won't be so embarrassed to be seen with you.
Wait, what? Please, I'm starving. Please let me out.
Nope. Maybe going to bed hungry will speed up your metabolism, though.
Her laughter echoed through the door as she walked away, leaving me in the dark. I was furious, humiliated, and terrified. Did they really plan to leave me here? That night, I drank water from a tap in the basement just to feel full enough to sleep. The next morning, I called out again, hoping they'd come to their senses. Instead, Uncle Mike's voice greeted me through the door.
We're still deciding how long to keep you down there. Maybe a week, maybe 2. We'll see. Depends how quickly you lose weight.
Panic set in. I couldn't survive like this. I had to find a way out, especially since I didn't for sure when they would let me out. I began searching the basement for anything that could help me. Eventually, I found some old boxes and stacked them up to reach a small window near the ceiling. It was too small for me to fit through, but it gave me an idea. I wrote a note explaining everything, how I'd been locked in the basement, starved, and tormented by my family. Then I searched for something to make my story more believable. That's when I found an old tape recorder. I set it up near the door and recorded myself calling out for help. Sure enough, Jessica, Aunt Susan, and Uncle Mike all came to mock me.
Keep crying, Claire. Maybe it'll help you burn some calories.
You'll thank us later. This is for your own good.
Stop whining. You'll get out when we say you can. For now, we'll keep you locked down there. Of course, if you happen to die, though, we'll just celebrate.
Yeah, we'll save so much money by not having to buy food for your fat ass.
Their voices were clear on the recording. I wrapped the cassette tape in my note and waited until the next morning. When I heard the neighbor heading to work, I pushed the window open and threw the bundle into their yard in front of them. I watched as they picked it up, read the note, and looked up at me in shock. Nervously, they tiptoed towards the house and spoke to me through the open window.
Is this true?
Yes. Please, help me, if you need proof. Please listen to the recording. They promised to call the police and ran off with the tape. Hours later, I heard sirens and the sound of officers pounding on the front door. There was shouting, arguing, and then gunfire. Moments later, the basement door burst open, and police officers rushed down to get me. They brought me to the neighbor's house, where I finally got to eat a proper meal while giving my statement. The officers explained what had happened.
When we arrived, your family claimed you weren't here. They said you'd run away. When we demanded to see the basement, your uncle threatened us with a gun. When we forcefully tried to get in, your uncle started shooting. One of our officers was forced to fire, and he was shot.
I later learned that Uncle Mike didn't survive his injuries, and he died on the way to the hospital. Aunt Susan and Jessica were arrested and charged with wrongful imprisonment, child abuse, kidnapping, and attempted murder. Jessica, despite being a minor, was tried as an adult because of the seriousness of the crimes and her role in them. Weeks passed, and they were both sentenced to 20 years in prison each. With Aunt Susan gone, I was given ownership of their house, but as a minor, I couldn't live alone. The neighbor who had saved me, Rebecca, offered to adopt me. I'll never forget the day the court approved it. I was skeptical that it would be an improvement, but was so very relieved to find out that it was the best thing to ever happen to me.
You're safe now, Claire. I'll take care of you. I promise that I will protect and keep you safe.
For the first time in years, I felt truly loved. Rebecca treated me like her own daughter, and life with her was everything I'd ever dreamed of. I had no intention of ever living in my aunt and uncle's home, and so I sold it and used the money to pay for college, and with the money left over, I invested it. Years later, I used that money that had grown while I was in school, and I bought my own home and started a life I was proud of. As for my aunt and Jessica, I heard rumors that my uncle's ghost keeps tormenting them. Inmates despise them after learning how horrible they were, often bullying them, seizing their food, or occasionally beating them. The worst happened when Jessica tried to seduce a guard. It backfired and was locked up in solitary confinement, and her sentence was extended by 3 months. As for Jessica and Aunt Susan, I made a point to often write them letters, just to let them know how happy and successful I'd become without them. And sometimes I will include photos of my vacation trips. Maybe it was spiteful, but it always makes me smile rubbing their noses in the fact that they are stuck in prison while I get to live my best life. Thanks for watching.
Ethan, do you hear that?
I didn't answer. I was already on my feet. Mara's door was open. The crib was empty. The blanket was still warm. The window was wide open, curtains moving in the cold night air. My heart dropped into my stomach. No, 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 no. Lena ran in behind me, saw the crib, and screamed. She collapsed to the floor, shaking.
Where is she? Where is she?
Outside, I saw footprints in the wet grass, small ones, and one set of adult shoes. A phone buzzed in my hand. One message.
She's with her real mother now.
I felt sick. She took her. Vanessa took Mara. I called the police with shaking hands. Sirens filled the street minutes later, red and blue lights flashing through our windows. The officers searched the house. One of them whispered, "She planned this." Lena couldn't stand. An ambulance came for her. My name is Ethan Cole, and I'm telling this story myself because no one would believe it if they heard it from someone else. I'm a systems technician. Nothing fancy. I fix broken networks, late-night servers, offices that panic when the internet dies. I used to believe I lived a normal life. I believed love was simple. I was very wrong. Before I met my wife, I dated a woman named Vanessa. At first, Vanessa was beautiful in a loud way. Sharp smile, sharp eyes. She laughed at people, not with them. I ignored that. I told myself she was just honest and strong. That was my first mistake. Vanessa had red flags everywhere. She was cruel to waiters.
Are you slow or just stupid?
I remember the waiter's face dropping. I said nothing. That was my second mistake. She hated children.
Kids are parasites. If I ever have one, I'd make sure it feared me.
I laughed nervously. I shouldn't have. She loved power. Any small power. She once screamed at a homeless man for sitting near her car.
You're ruining the view. Get lost.
I apologized to him after she walked away. He looked at me and said quietly, "Son, evil doesn't always scream. Sometimes it smiles." I stayed with her. The worst part? She enjoyed hurting people emotionally. She would tell her friends their secrets in public. She would flirt with men in front of me just to see my reaction.
Relax. You're not insecure, are you?
I was. Then came the cheating. I came home early one night. I heard laughter in my apartment. A man's laugh. Her laugh. I opened the bedroom door. She didn't even scream. She just sighed.
Well, this is awkward.
The man scrambled. I stood there shaking. How long?
Does it matter?
That was it. That was the moment something inside me died. I broke up with her that night. She didn't cry. She smiled.
You'll regret this.
I thought she was just being dramatic. I was wrong. After the breakup, my life turned dark fast. Messages started coming. Unknown numbers.
I see you. You think you escaped me?
She showed up outside my work. She followed me in stores. One night, she scratched my car with a key and wrote mine on the door. I reported her. Nothing happened. She hasn't hurt you, just block her. I blocked her. She created new numbers. Then I met Lena. Lena was calm, kind. She said thank you to strangers. She cried during sad movies. She listened. On our third date, she said,
If someone shows you who they are, believe them.
I married her a year later. Vanessa lost her mind. She sent hundreds of messages.
She will never be me. I will take everything you love.
One night, she attacked me in a parking lot, screaming, scratching. She was arrested, released the next day. That's when Lena and I decided to leave the state. We moved far, new names on mailboxes, new jobs. For a while, peace. Then came the baby. We tried for years. Doctors shook their heads.
I'm sorry, it's unlikely.
Lena cried in the car. I held her. We decided to adopt. The orphanage was old, quiet, too quiet. That's where we met Mara. She was 6 months old. Big dark eyes, too focused. She didn't cry. The worker smiled nervously.
She's special.
Lena held her. Mara stared at me. She smiled. The air felt cold. We adopted her. The first night home, things began. Lights flickered. The baby monitor turned on by itself. At 3 a.m., Mara laughed. Not a baby laugh, a deep laugh.
Did you hear that?
I said no. Then objects moved. Doors locked themselves. Mara never cried. She watched. Once, Lena slipped in the kitchen. The floor was wet, no water source. Another time, I yelled at Mara out of frustration. The lights exploded, glass everywhere. Mara smiled. That was when I realized there was something deeply wrong with Mara. I suspected she was a witch. A few weeks later, one night. That night, something felt wrong before I even opened my eyes. The house was too quiet. No humming from the fridge, no ticking clock, no soft breathing from Mara's room. I sat up fast.
Ethan, do you hear that?
I didn't answer. I was already on my feet. Mara's door was open. The crib was empty. The blanket was still warm. The window was wide open, curtains moving in the cold night air. My heart dropped into my stomach. No, 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 no. Lena ran in behind me, saw the crib, and screamed. She collapsed to the floor, shaking.
Where is she? Where is she?
Outside, I saw footprints in the wet grass. Small ones, and one set of adult shoes. A phone buzzed in my hand. One message.
She's with her real mother now.
I felt sick. She took her. Vanessa took Mara. I called the police with shaking hands. Sirens filled the street minutes later, red and blue lights flashing through our windows. The officers searched the house. One of them whispered, "She planned this." Lena couldn't stand. An ambulance came for her. As they lifted her onto the stretcher, she grabbed my hand.
She thinks Mara is yours.
I nodded. That's why she took her. The house felt dead after they left. Mara's toys were still on the floor. Her bottle still on the table. The window still open. We waited. One night, then 2, then 3. Each night I stared at my phone, afraid of what message would come next. Days passed, and somewhere in the dark, Vanessa finally learned the truth about the baby she stole. Days passed, then reports started coming. Vanessa showed up at a hospital screaming. She says the baby speaks to her. Vanessa claimed the baby crawled up walls. She said mirrors shattered. She said Mara whispered secrets no one knew. Vanessa locked herself in a room. She called police on herself.
Please arrest me. She's not human.
She ran into traffic trying to escape the baby. A car hit her. Broken leg. Police found Mara sitting calmly beside her. Not a scratch. Vanessa later told police what happened in her apartment, and even now I smile when I think about it. She said the baby never cried. She said Mara just sat there, staring. Vanessa tried to turn on the TV to calm herself. Every time she changed the channel, it switched back by itself to crime shows, kidnapping documentaries, prison interviews.
Stop it. Stop it.
The remote flew out of her hand and hit the wall. She locked Mara in the bedroom and leaned against the door, breathing hard. Then she heard crawling. Not on the floor, on the ceiling. She opened the door, screaming. Mara was back in the living room, sitting calmly, holding a spoon. Vanessa tried to film her. The phone screen cracked instantly. At night, Vanessa said the baby whispered. Not baby sounds, clear words.
You hurt people.
Vanessa said mirrors shattered whenever she insulted me or my wife. When she called Lena ugly, the lights went out. When she called me weak, the fridge fell over. She said the baby smiled every time she cried. Vanessa screamed at her.
What are you?
The baby tilted her head and laughed. Not loud. Soft. Like a joke only she understood. The officers took Mara into custody. One officer looked shaken. That child smiled when the sirens came on. We got Mara back briefly. That night, the walls bled shadows. Lena whispered,
She's not meant for us.
We returned Mara to the orphanage. The worker nodded like she understood.
She always comes back.
Weeks later, Lena got sick. Then the test. Positive. A miracle. Vanessa went to prison for kidnapping. I heard what happened inside from a guard who recognized my name. He said she didn't last 1 week. The inmates read her file.
So you stole a baby?
Vanessa tried to explain.
It wasn't normal. That thing.
They laughed. They called her names. Witch mom. Baby snatcher. Crazy Vanessa. At night, she screamed in her sleep. She begged the guards to leave the lights on. Afraid of the dark now? She wrote letters to me. Dozens. She begged, threatened, cried. I never opened one. The guard said she once yelled at the ceiling during count.
I gave her back. Why won't you stop?
The lights flickered. Even the guards went quiet. The guard told me one last thing before hanging up. Funny thing, man. Every time she screams, the baby unit down the hall goes silent. I slept very well that night. Lena sleeps peacefully. Our baby kicks. Sometimes, late at night, I swear I hear a laugh far away. But it's not in my house. And that's enough for me. So yeah, that's my story. If you enjoyed it, smash that like button, subscribe for more nightmares, and remember, if a baby stares too long, maybe don't take it home.